Right, before we start, I need to tell you the name of the video we are covering today. It is "This is why evolution is wrong," in all caps, with an obligatory exclamation mark. Why I need to tell you that will be revealed in short order, but I needed to give you the context to understand just how utterly incompetent this human being is.
The origin of life is a much debated topic.
That was less than 3 goddamn seconds, and already our presenter has proven that they have no idea what evolution is and what its theory explains. Now you might say, but sick, maybe this person saying that is just a presenter saying what is put in front of him on a script, and maybe. But who cares? Because that means they either know it's wrong and don't care, or don't know it's wrong and are a big silly dumb. Either way, no, evolution has nothing to do with the origin of life. It is what explains its diversity. If you people can't understand that basic fact, you really need to stop fucking talking about it.
Some have dedicated their lives to finding an answer.
Yes, and others still have dedicated their lives to being 1000% certain that they already have it, and then acting all indignant when anyone could possibly not agree with them that their answer, for which there is zero empirical evidence, FYI, and then when they do the right thing of telling them they're evil and should be tortured forever, are again shocked that the other party would tell them to fuck off and that they're full of shit. You know, it's a hard life being correct all the time for no discernible reason. It really is.
Others write the question off as unanswerable.
That's a bit intellectually lazy, isn't it though? I mean, it's fine if you have no interest in knowing the answer, or at least don't care if you don't know, but to decide that you know that it can't be answered, well, it's almost as bad as saying you do know the answer, because some guy in a big building told you, and that's good enough for you. Christ, you must be pretty fucking gullible if that's enough to get you to believe something. God.
Just what is the probability of life occurring spontaneously from non-life with the ability to reproduce?
I don't care. What's more important is it possible? And the answer is, of course, yes. It has, in fact, been demonstrated that given the right circumstances, that life could have occurred from unalive boys. So we don't really need to know the chances, seeing as it, well, likely did happen. The chances, whether high or low, would prove nothing, other than just how unlucky we are that humans exist and have yet to stop existing because of how selfish they are. What about what I want?
We should remember that just because something exists does not mean the probability of the event is 100%.
Right. So what? Again, it doesn't matter. What they think the probability of life existing is, if there's a chance that it came about naturally through a mechanism that we can prove exists, that's better than any explanation without that. See, I know where you're going with this, and I ain't letting you have it. Also, so far, none of this has anything to do with evolution. Just to remind you, that was the title. It's almost like he doesn't actually know what evolution is.
As the event may have been the result of a willful intervention.
What? What makes you think that? I mean, we are talking the existence of life, and okay, it may have been a lot of things. It may have been the result of a mindless, disembodied space butt pooping life into existence, which has no desires or purpose, just pooping along its merry way through the universe. But we don't have any evidence for that explanation, so we'll go with it formed naturally, till a better explanation that fits the evidence more snugly comes along. Oh, and God did it is on the same level as Spacebutt, just in case you were wondering. Okay, I do have to point out that it's so weird to see a show called Tomorrow's World. I mean, I know that it's technically a subtitle, but come on, that was a show back in the I used to watch TV days where they would bring on some, at the time, seemingly fancy tech that was gonna change the world, as opposed to this show where I can only assume that they really don't like change. So hold on to their preconceived notions of reality as hard as humanly possible.
It has become abundantly clear that the Earth is the only place where life exists in our solar system.
Okay, A, we don't know that for sure, and B, even if we did, so what? I mean, way to limit the scope of life to one tiny little speck of nothing in the middle of nowhere space. There is a lot of stuff out there. There are bundles of planets very similar to our own, so the possibility for life to be out there is simply kind of astonishingly high. And I do have to wonder, if we do find life on other planets, how will the Creaty Boys and Fundy Chaps react to that news? You know, other than screaming fake news and sticking their dicks back into their Bibles.
All of the other planetary bodies have been explored to one extent or another.
What? No, they haven't. Seriously, what's exploring other than getting boots on the ground? Or at the very least, getting robot wheels on the ground. Seriously, I don't think there's a science boy alive who would say that we've explored all the planets in our solar system, like at all. At best, we have observed them, sometimes in great detail, but to claim that they've been explored to some extent because of that is like saying I visited New York because I looked at it on Google Earth, and that would still be way more detailed than we've seen most planets. I mean, the possibility of life existing on Mars is still an open question, even though we've literally done tests on its fucking surface.
Without revealing the existence of any organic tissue.
You know there's more to the existence of life than organic tissue, right? I mean, if we use the definition of tissue as a biological, organizational level between cells and a complete organ, then that completely removes single-celled organisms from the discussion, which is, well, incredibly wrong to do since it counts as life. And it is quite likely what we will find on planets that seem otherwise barren, because it would still count as life, since, you know, it is.
Well, how many planets might be out there in the Milky Way and the galaxies beyond? Can we expect that somewhere else life has spontaneously developed and is flourishing?
It seems pretty likely. The problem is that we may never know about it, seeing as first off, it may still be very unusual, so perhaps this is the only solar system we can reach that has life in it, and that assuming we even manage to get off this rock and into another part of the galaxy to check, seeing as there's a non-zero chance that humanity just blows itself up in a blunder worthy of TV's funniest home videos. But again, the chances are pretty damn high, seeing if it can happen, it can happen again, no matter the odds of it.
What is the probability of finding life outside of the Earth?
7. What, you want me to elaborate? No, that's just something you're going to have to live with. The likelihood of life existing outside of the Earth is exactly 7, and I will be answering no further questions. Thank you very much.
People under the influence of religion have viewed life on Earth as the product of a deliberate and planned creation.
People under the influence of religion? Fucking hell, mate. That's how I'd put it as a goddamn joke. Because it's got the ring of under the influence of alcohol. And not gonna lie, they ain't far off. Although, to be fair, I make way better decisions when I'm drunk than people do because of religious beliefs, so maybe not. And yeah, some of those stupid things they have done is to write books about how the world was made by their powerful invisible best friend who really, really likes them and hates gay people for some reason. I mean, I have been drunk in my life. I have been catastrophically wasted, but I've never, in my life, done anything that fucking ridiculous.
Others explain the presence of life through a slow process of development or evolution.
First off, finally, I think that's the first time he's actually brought evolution up. And second, life is not the product of evolution. The diversity of life is. Please get it straight, dum-dum. But as an explanation for that, you know, it's a thing that we have tons of fucking evidence for. It being a real thing that happens. I don't know what your point is going to be, but it's never going to be proof that evolution isn't real. Because that's like proving gravity doesn't make things fall to the floor. It just does. No matter how many stupid arguments you make against that obvious fact, it doesn't stop it being a fact.
Which presently seems to be the most accepted point of view.
Again, not for abiogenesis, it's not. That's the study of the origins of life for the dumb fucks in the room. Cough, this guy, cough, cough. But it is absolutely accepted as a thing that happens by anyone who understands the science even remotely. Because it's a fact that facts about, all fact-like.
Well, how do mathematicians assess the probability of the origin of life?
Who the f*** cares how mathematicians rate anything to do with the origins of life? The hell kind of question is that? It's like me asking, what do butchers think about the current political dealings of southwest middle of nowhere town? Sure, they might know something. They might even have something of value to say. But ultimately, unless it's their expertise and they are citing the science and the studies on a subject, what they have to say is near irrelevant to the conversation of whether or not evolution happens, which it does. Also, the likelihood that evolution caused life to exist is exactly 0%, but that's because that's not what it does, you silly old fuck.
Probability is a field of mathematics that assesses the likelihood of an event occurring.
Whoop-de-fucking-do. Seriously, you are having a conversation that is basically irrelevant to anything, because you don't know what the terms you are using mean, and you don't understand what evidence is apparently. It's so infuriating that your lot always pulls this shit. It's gotta be willful ignorance, I swear to atheismo.
Given enough information, all of the possible outcomes or arrangements of a situation can be determined.
Well, that is actually true. For example, say you have a room full of creationists. What is the statistical probability that one of them will be a lying? Haha, that's a trick question. They're all going to be fucking liars.
Mathematicians can therefore predict with considerable accuracy the possibility of an event occurring.
Okay, but bear with me now. What's the point of predicting if evolution will happen when it does? You see how this is all a massive waste of time? I mean, not entirely. Did you hear that last joke? That was a goddamn banger, if I do say so myself.
When probability is used correctly, it can accurately predict the likelihood of election results, life expectancy of a population, likelihood of one purchasing a certain item.
Kinda shot yourself in the foot right there, me old mate. Using it correctly. Now, I'm no smart boy maths guy, but what's the betting that whatever the results of your statistical analysis of the probability of life, guys, yada yada yada, results in, well, I think the odds are in favour of not being used correctly. Like at all.
Let me give a simple example of probability.
Only if I can give a simple example of a person. That's right, you guessed it, it's him. Nothing more simple than a person who goes out to refute evolution by immediately misusing it and then tries to use maths and not, say, biology to prove that it's not a real thing. This guy knows how to use so few things, I'd be amazed if he knew how to operate shoes. And I don't mean putting them on, I mean wearing them.
If you had a single die, the likelihood of rolling a 1 is 1 out of 6, as there is one desired result out of a total of 6 results.
Ah, you got a crap dice. I mean, look at that. That's clearly got a 9 on it, stupid bastards, the lot of you. I kid. I know it's just a wrong way down 6, but I wonder why they chose to use dice with written numbers on it instead of those ones with the dots. You think maybe it's because the intended audience lacks the ability to count up to 6? Probably.
If you had a 10-sided die, the likelihood of rolling a 1 is 1 out of 10.
Okay, bored now. I'm not going to sit here and listen to you explain how fucking dice work. Let's skip all this and the how-to math shit and get to your actual point before the fucking heat death of the universe. And for those of you who cares, big numbers and power, chaps. Yay.
In mathematics, if the chances of something occurring are less than 1 over 10 to the power of 50, we generally say the chances of that event are nil. That is, it will not occur.
Okay, so after doing some digging, I found numerous maths head who found the idea of applying statistical probability to the universe fucking stupid. Just to let you know. As usual, that number is meaningless. Assuming that's what you are going for with abiogenesis, or a higher number even, it's completely and utterly nonsensical because it assumes something that we literally don't know. Because in order to come to any numerical statistical conclusion, you need data. You need to know how many times things could have possibly happened. You need to know what other things could have happened instead. You need to know a lot of things that we don't currently know and maybe never will. So to presume that you do and thus can calculate the probability of it all, well, that sounds like fucking bullshit, mate. Not gonna lie.
This is because 10 to the power of 50 represents a number that is far greater than the estimated number of planets in the entire universe.
Okay, but again, you couldn't possibly have an accurate number there. I mean, think about it. If that's the chance of it happening once to one set of molecules that are floating around, great, but there are more than a handful of bits on the planet Earth. In fact, there's probably at least 5 sets, so that cuts down your estimate by quite a lot. And hell, if there were just millions, if not billions of the buggers kicking about, That would bring it down to, right, likely numbers, wouldn't it?
The development of life from simple non-living matter represents the coming together of various molecules to form more organized and complex structures, which includes very intricate and essential molecular machines.
You know, you're framing that very dishonestly. There are multiple steps before massively complicated machine-like structures, yeah? Now, we may not know exactly how things stepped up to the next level, but we know that they did, because they did. And maybe it's because someone made that happen. Maybe it's because a time-traveling arsehole got drunk one day and pissed into the prehistoric ocean. Maybe that's why the humans turned out so shit. Or maybe it happened naturally, as all things we observe do. And no, it's not nature of the gaps if we say it's likely nature when literally everything else is natural, because God of the Gaps is fallacious because we can't prove he did fucking anything. That's the point.
Thus, the spontaneous development of life requires things moving from less order to more order.
Oh, god damn it, I know where he's going again. Goodness, it's almost like I've heard this shit all before. Because for some reason, these motherfuckers couldn't come up with the original idea if their lives depended on it. So go on then, shock us with your brilliant new concept then. I'll try not to pass out from shock. Whiskey maybe, but not shock, come on.
To evaluate the likelihood of this possibility, mathematicians would first consider the second thermodynamic law, called the law of entropy. A law that demonstrates that all matter will tend toward a state of maximum disorder unless acted upon by an organizing force.
And there it fucking is, the second law of thermodynamics. It only applies in a closed system. The Earth and the life therein is not a closed system because of that whole the frickin' sun thing. So any mathematician using it to prove life couldn't occur naturally would have to be a fucking idiot. So, you know, it all tracks, doesn't it?
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the